Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. Hilton brings you new ways to stay with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing basketball.
Basketball. Here's our hosts, Steve Collins. And Bill Flitter.
Hey, coaches, welcome to another episode of Coaching Youth Hoops. I am your host, Coach Bill Flitter. Sans Coach Collins today. He is off probably at a basketball game right now. So you just have me. Before we get started, today's podcast is brought to you by the basketballplaycreator.com. If you need to create plays easily, I highly recommend this tool. You can share your plays with your players. You can create playbooks. Awesome tool, very affordable. Go check it out. Again, basketballplaycreator.com. All right, today's topic, we're going to talk about how to translate better what you practice in games, what you practice in your practice, your drills, your plays, etc., and how to get players to recall the play when the pressure's on and in game situations. Okay, so this came up quite a few times in the Facebook group, and I know I've experienced. You're watching a game, take a simple inbound play, and you call the play, and your players just are not executing it. It's like they never heard of the play. They don't know where to go, what movement to happen, and they're running around. Right. So I know, and it's frustrating as heck because you practice all of those things, and when it comes to game time, for whatever reason, right, they're not executing. So this bugged me enough where I'm like, okay, what am I doing? How can I change practice? How can I change the way I teach to help players perform better in games? I didn't put that on them as, oh, it's your problem. No, it's my problem. I'm the adult. I have to teach better. And I'm sure as a coach, if you've been coaching any length of time, you've come across this yourself, right? So I spent quite a bit of time the last few weeks researching how to make this process better. Thankfully, a lot of the stuff that I'm going to share with you today I've already been doing. So that has really helped along the way. But I wanted a simplified process that I could share. So I dug into the research. How do athletes learn and how do kids learn the best? And I put that into a systematic, step-by-step approach that you can easily apply to your practice when you're teaching the drills. Okay, and before I dig deep into that, I will put the link to the information and the details of the PDF you can download. I'll put that into the show notes. But if you go to coachingyouthhoops.com/remember-basketball-plays. Again, coachingyouthhoops/remember-basketball-plays.com. So again, it's remember basketball plays is the extension with a dash in between those 3 words. You can download the report and everything that I'm sharing today. I'm obviously not going to go into all the details of the report. It gives a lot of examples, but let's dive into this. So how can we get players to retain more information? And it really doesn't matter if you're teaching younger kids, kindergarten, all the way up through high school, even into college. We all kind of learn the same way. Obviously, the rate at which we learn is different as we get older, and the amount of information we learn is different, but the actual process is pretty similar. Okay, so the first thing, which is really fascinating when I started digging into the research, as a coach, we obviously go through a drill and then have players listen to our instruction. If that's the only thing you did, they're only going to retain 5% of what you said. Pretty fascinating, right? And all of these steps that I'm going to share, if you take one away, it slows down the learning process and how much they can retain. So you really need to do all of these 7 steps, and they're not hard. Some of these I'm sure you're already doing. So the first one is listen, right? They're just listening to you. It's passive, but of course there's problems with that. There's interpretation problems. You're talking too long and they're distracted and off to doing something else and hitting the person next to them and screwing around, right? Then if you have them read, right? So imagine we're working on an inbound play, and they listen to your instruction, then they read the step-by-step themselves, okay? That boosts their learning up to 10%. Now, if you have them read it while you're talking, so they're listening and reading, that gets you up to 20% retention of that drill. So I know I'm guilty of this. I don't hand out again, we're using the baseline out of bounds as the example. While I'm instructing on the court, I don't do that, but I'm gonna try it and start doing this. Again, so listen and read to get the 20% gain in their recall. Next, we all do this, right? We demonstrate, right? We go through maybe a 5-on-0 scenario of that inbound play. But typically what happens, again, we go from I talk, they listen, and then we skip right over the other 2 steps and we go right into demonstrating. Right? Then after, if you go, so it's listen at 5%, read at 10%, listen and read at 20%, and now demonstrate at 30%. That's what they'll recall later on, 30% of what you just went through. So now we start really getting into the interesting stuff because there's big jumps from here. So discuss is the next one. So discuss, the players discuss. What did you just learn? And I would add evaluate and discuss. So what you players just ran the play, have them talk about it, either as a group, a small group, individually, whatever it is. One-on-one with someone else, but have them, and of course with you, have them come up with 1 or 2 things they could do a little bit better running that inbound play. So, but have them discuss that drill. Again, these things do not have to be long. They can be really quick. Then next we apply. So what does apply mean? Apply is different than demonstrate. Apply is now we're doing maybe a small-sided game. We're doing a 5-on-5 for that inbound play, really getting defense involved as well. And that you'll gain a jump of 75%. They'll retain 75% at that point. All right, once they're applying the whatever you're teaching into a situation. Okay, again, remember this is cumulative, so you can't just go from listen to apply and think that they're going to retain 75%. It doesn't work that way. You go listen, read, listen plus read, then you demonstrate it. Again, small-sided games, 5-on-0, Then you evaluate, and they evaluate and discuss. You ask them leading questions so they can start processing and thinking about it. Then you get in a 5-on-5 situation, small-sided games, competitiveness, gamify, right? Your drills, whatever you want to emphasize, really apply that drill. This is interesting. So now we're at 75%. The last piece in the puzzle. Wait for it. Drum roll. Is teach. They teach. They walk through. They teach their teammates how to do the inbound play. And again, be strategic. Pick the person that one is your best student, right? Who is going to kind of get it, or have them, if they're maybe younger, kind of lead them. What do we do after X, right? What do we do after the ball? Or go position by position. Okay, Johnny, what do you do when the ball comes in? Oh, I go here, right? Or, hey, can you teach the person who was sitting out of bounds, waiting their turn, can you teach them what to do? And that's going to boost their retention when peer-to-peer teaching happens by 90%. That is absolutely fascinating to me. Again, all of this is not just my my observation or me doing this. This is research back. So I dug up all the research. I put it into that report, which I will give you that URL one more time, which is, again, coachingyouthhoops.com/remember-basketball-plays. And again, I'll put this in the show notes so you have it there as well. But I was pretty fascinated at these 7 core techniques for teaching, and I'm really curious. Go try these out yourself at your next practice. Just take a drill or take anything you're working on and apply these steps and see if this helps with the retention in games. Like I said, I've done a lot of these steps before. And I definitely noticed a huge difference. And especially the teach, it gives them buy-in, accountability. It makes them feel like they're part of the process and the teaching process. They're not just there to do what we tell them to do, but now they get to teach, and they take a sense of ownership with that and pride. So it doesn't matter what age you're teaching. There are steps along the way that you can ask them questions and make it age appropriate what you want them to do. Okay, quick recap. So again, if you're struggling and there's that gap between practice and your games, and you're getting frustrated because what you're teaching in practice is not translating to a game, try these 7 steps. Number 1, something you're doing already. You're teaching. They're listening. Number 2, print out that play, have them read it, and you know where you can do plays, right? basketballplaycreator.com. You can write all your instructions out right there, and have a printout ready for practice. And then they read it. Now you read it to them, and they're reading it. And they're listening. I'm sorry. Let's try that again. They're reading step-by-step instructions, and you're talking. So they're listening and reading. That's going to boost that knowledge retention by 20%. Now they're going to demo it. That's a boost of up to 30%. They're going to discuss what they just demoed. Okay, that's a bump of 50%. Then they're going to apply it in a live situations, small-sided games. You can gamify these, give points to what you want to emphasize in practice. That's going to give you a boost of 75. And the ultimate 90%, they're going to remember 90% of what you're teaching is if they teach it to their teammates. All right, coaches, as always, have an amazing season. Good luck. You can always find us on Facebook at Coaching Youth Hoops. So go check us out there. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you want to see us live or in person or face, go over to our YouTube. Search Coaching Youth Hoops podcast there. You'll find us there as well. So however you want to consume our content, we have a place for it. Coaches, have an amazing season. reach out if you have any questions. Again, look for that report. It gives a lot more detail than we just went through on the podcast. Till next time, see you later.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.